Peace and blessings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Taj Yutsi, and I'm a certified financial coach. I'm also the founder of True Financial Coaching, where our mission here is to educate, enlighten, and equip individuals with the financial literacy that is needed in order to get off of the rat wheel. What is the rat wheel? The rat wheel is when one is constantly financing things that go down in value for them and up in value for the banks. As long as they continue to finance depreciating objects, then they continue to keep that wheel in motion. The wheel is only powered as long as the rat keeps moving. So when one is constantly consuming, then they are the rat that's powering that wheel. It's not until when one wakes up and realizes that they are that rat that's powering the wheel, then they can make a plan to get off the rat wheel by creating a budget, getting out of debt, and then begin to build wealth. And then once they do that, then they can get off the rat wheel or escape the rat race. So it's our mission at True Financial Coaching to help you to invest in yourself by doing those things to escape the rat wheel. Today, I just had a thought from a recent discussion I had with someone, and he was talking about borrowing from your retirement account, particularly 401ks or 403bs. So again, a 401k is a retirement account that one contributes with pre-tax dollars, meaning income that has not yet been taxed. Put it into a 401k, usually it is with your employer, and then your employer will invest it in various accounts, whether stock markets or mutual funds, whatever. But it's with pre-tax dollars. And with the 401k, the employer is the sponsor of that particular retirement account. 403b, similar to a 401k, the only difference is 403bs are with the public sector. For example, teachers, hospitals, things of that nature. So they have 403bs. But the question was, should I withdraw funds early from that account? A lot of people do that. A lot of people, they may withdraw funds from their retirement accounts, 401k, 403b in particular. And in some cases, it is allowed penalty-free, tax-free, first-time purchases of a home, and some other reasons why you may be able to withdraw without penalty. But some disadvantages of withdrawing from the 403b or your 401k is what I was thinking about today, that hopefully this may be able to help some individuals if you are considering doing that. But before you do that, you want to just make sure you consider everything. The first thing that I always ask is, before we get into the disadvantages of withdrawing from those retirement accounts, 401k, 403b, the first thing that I always ask is, why do you have to borrow from your future to pay for your present? That's the question I always ask. Why did you have to borrow from your future in order to pay for your present? And when one is borrowing from their retirement account, 403b, 401k, you're borrowing from your future self in order to pay for a present expense. The question again is why? Why is it that one does not have the money for themselves in the present so that they don't have to borrow from their future? And this is why one thing that I teach when I work with people is an order in which you plan for your future with your finances. Create a budget, start an emergency fund, attack your debt, Once the debt is clear, build up that emergency fund for 3 to 6 months of expenses or a year, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And then once you build up that emergency fund, now you can begin to invest in your retirement accounts. And when one goes out of that order and they try to invest in retirement accounts without laying the foundation of creating a budget, of establishing an emergency fund, of getting out of debt, and they skip those steps and then they want to go straight to investing, what's going to happen is when one gets into a financial predicament, crisis, a jam, then they're going to have to go right back to that retirement account to make those withdrawals. So this is why I teach follow certain steps. Just like in mathematics, there's an order of operations, PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's what we use to remember it. But it's the steps to solving a problem. Parentheses first, exponents, multiplication or division, whichever comes first. Addition and subtraction, whichever comes first. You follow those steps, you'll get the correct answer in mathematics. Same it is with your finances. If you follow steps, you'll get to your goal. But when you go out of order, then you're going to have a mess. And that's what a lot of people do. They go out of order. They try to invest in retirement accounts without laying a foundation. It's like building a house. Before you build, you lay the foundation. Get that foundation settled, and then you can build. That's how it is with your finances. The budget is the foundation. Getting out of debt, emergency fund, foundation. Now you can begin to build, wealth. But again, people go out of order, then they find themselves having to borrow from the retirement account, borrowing from the future in order to pay for the present. So one of the disadvantages of borrowing from a 401k or a 403b is that now you reduce the retirement savings, meaning you don't allow time to work in your favor. The benefit of having a retirement account is that you're looking at it for down the line, years down the line. And over the course of those years, the money that you invest in the retirement accounts is earning compound interest. It's earning interest and it's compounding, meaning you may put $1,000 in, get a 8% return on that $1,000. So that's $80. Now you have $1,080 at the end of the year. So now you put another $1,000 in. Every year you're putting $1,000 in, but you're earning interest on the money that you earned interest on from the first $1,000, plus interest on the next $1,000. More time goes by, now that money is growing because of what? Compound interest. But when you withdraw early from your 401k or your 403b, now you're stunting that growth. You're stunning that growth of compound interest. So you're not allowing your money to earn money. And the interest on that money that you contributed is no longer earning money as fast as it could or would have been if you were not borrowing and still contributing. And that's another thing. When you borrow from your 401k, most, if not all, I haven't heard of any, but now once you borrow from your 401k, you can't contribute for a period of time. You can't contribute for a period of time. So now, again, you're not giving your monies that time to grow because you borrowed from your future in order to pay for a present. Compound interest, Albert Einstein, he said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He said, he who understands it earns it. He who does not pays it. So now, when you borrow from your 401k or your 403b, those retirement accounts, you're, again, stunning that compound interest. So it's not earning. The money that you contributed, it's not, is no longer earning. The interest that you earned before you borrowed. Now, when you borrow now, that's not earning as much as it could be if you had just let that money sit and just keep contributing it. So not giving your retirement savings enough time to grow, you're stunting the growth when you retire. When you withdraw from that retirement account. Another reason why one should not borrow, or disadvantage of borrowing from your 401k or your 403b accounts, is that now there's a double tax on it. And most people don't see that. There's a double tax on the money that you're going to be paying. You're going to be paying a double tax. And what I mean is this. When you contribute to your 401k or your 403b, you're contributing with pre-taxed dollars, meaning money that hasn't been taxed. So when you contribute to your 401k or your 403b, you're contributing with pre-tax dollars. At the end of the year, when it's time to file your taxes, what happens is the IRS or whoever you do your tax with, they'll say, well, look, well, have you contributed to 401k, 403b, or traditional IRA? Yes. What happens now is whatever you contributed, now that amount that you contributed, you can get it as a write-off, meaning you lower your taxable income. So if your income for the year is $90,000, but you contributed $10,000 to a 401k, 403b, you're only going to be taxed on $80,000, right? $90,000 is your gross income. Contribute $10,000. 90 minus 10 is $80,000. So you're only going to be taxed on that amount by contributing to a 401k or 403b. But now, when you withdraw early from those retirement accounts, what happens is when you withdraw early, you're going to be taxed on that amount. You're going to be taxed on it. And somebody say, well, how am I going to be taxed on it? The way you're being taxed, because now when you pay it back, you're now paying it back with post-tax dollars. You're paying it back with post-tax dollars, after-tax dollars. You're no longer paying it with your pre-tax dollars, but you're paying it back with your post-tax dollars. You withdraw, take a loan from your 403b or 401k. You're paying it back with your post-tax dollars. So you're paying it back with dollars that has been taxed. Now, not only that, is now when you go to withdraw, or from you get a retirement distribution, get a distribution in retirement, you're being taxed again. That's a double tax. That's a double tax, and a lot of people don't see that, because when you withdraw early, when you pay it back, you're paying it back with post-tax dollars. That's one tax. So now it's going to take you longer to pay that money back, because you're not paying it back with as much as you would have if you were paying it back with pre-tax dollars. It's taking you longer. One tax there. The second tax, is when now in retirement you just make a distribution. They give you a distribution. Now you're being taxed again. That's two tax. Oftentimes I hear people say, well, I'm paying myself back with interest. You're paying yourself back with interest. You're paying yourself back with with post-tax dollars. You're paying yourself back with post-tax dollars. That is a tax. That is the penalty for borrowing from your future to pay for your present. So that's another disadvantage of taking money out from your 401k, your 403b, which are retirement accounts. Third disadvantage, and these are no particular order, but the third disadvantage is that when you make an early withdrawal from your 401k, you have a certain amount of time, 5 years, to pay that back. So what does that mean? That means I am tied to a job. I am tied to that employer for the next 5 years. I'm tied to that employer for the next 5 years. Why? Because if I leave early, or let's say I leave that job before making the repayment on the withdrawal, that money is going to be due very quick. Usually 60 days, you have to make that payment, the full amount. So what have you done? You now attach yourself to a job that you may not even enjoy for the next 5 years of your life. That is another disadvantage, because now they own the time now of your life. They own the time of your life. And that's what people don't look at when they're making withdrawals or borrowing from 401k, early withdrawals or borrowing from a 401k or 403b. You have now attached yourself to a job that you may hate for 5 more years. Because if you leave that job, that money that you withdrew is going to be due sooner, usually 60 days. And if you don't, then it goes into default, and then other things, it can get ugly. It can get ugly. So you want to make sure, if you have a mind to withdraw from your retirement accounts, do your research. And these are just talking about 401k and 403b, because there's other retirements, the Roth, IRA, that's different stipulations for that. I did a video talking about that, and I'll maybe put that in the description box. But when you talk about withdrawing from employee-sponsored accounts, better do your research, because you can, again, tie yourself to a job for 5 more years, being double taxed, and you're not giving your monies time to grow. And I can talk about this because that was me at one point. I'm a school teacher, as many of you already know. We have 403b accounts. Maybe about 15, 20 years ago, probably longer than that, 20 years ago, maybe longer than that, about 20 years ago, I was borrowing like a lot. I had a couple of about 3 403b loans, not realizing what I was doing. But again, the question is, why didn't I have the money now to pay for my present, where I don't have to borrow from my future? And many people brag about that. They brag about how much they can borrow, because they let you borrow up to 50% of what's in there. And people brag about that, not realizing the implications behind it. So if that's something that you're doing or you have a mind to do, think twice. Think twice. Because again, it can put you in a bad situation and keep you on that rat wheel. and keep you on that rat wheel. So I hope this video was informative and helpful. If you have any questions or you disagree with anything, drop it in the comments. We'll try to answer you. See if you see something different, or you have a question about that. Just drop it in the comments, and we'll try to answer your questions. But again, always ask yourself, why don't I have the money now to pay for a present expense where I don't have to borrow from my future? So again, if you enjoyed the information, like. If you haven't subscribe, share if you don't mind. Thank you for your support. If you're ready to get off that rat wheel and ready to invest in yourself, come visit me at truthinkcoaching.com. Schedule your consultation. We can get you on your pathway to becoming free from the rat race. Peace and blessings.